Hello everyone, it's me Goose, and I think we all know what we're going to talk about today. Yes, Byleth has been announced for Smash, and not everyone is really happy about that. And you know what? Here's my honest thoughts about this. Whatever. I was just going to re-upload what I had recorded today during the stream and just call it a day, but to be honest, the entire stream was just very boring, and it was just me complaining about how I needed to take a shit, so I think this is the next best thing, honestly. Because if you want my honest opinions on this, it's very simple. Really, it's just, who cares? I know there's a ton of people that are excited for Byleth, and that's fine. I'm really glad that you have your character, and that's totally okay. But as someone who really loves Fire Emblem and the entirety of the franchise, I don't really understand this decision. Well, I do actually understand. I shouldn't lie. I know the decisions behind this. I know why this had to happen, but the fact that this whole thing ended off at a whimper is just kind of confusing to me, because you have every right to be excited for Byleth if you are excited for Byleth, or you could be a total diehard Fire Emblem fan and totally love this decision, right? But even you have to admit that this wasn't really the kind of way that people wanted this to end. Every single character so far has been a third-party outsourced character that nobody ever would have expected, and that got people really thrilled and excited and really hyped up everything. And the fact that this ended off at a whimper, well, it's not really the perfect way to end this. Again, nothing to shit on Byleth. I mean, I personally don't like Byleth. I never really liked any of the MCs whatsoever from Fire Emblem because I think they're all very boring and bland characters because, well, guess what? They're blank slates because you're supposed to portray yourself through those characters. But in the end, this ultimately felt like it was a sort of advertisement for the recently released Fire Emblem Three Houses. And I already said this during the stream, we all know that Smash Brothers, if you really want to get to the most nihilistic, consumerist kind of definition of Smash Brothers, it is ultimately a glorified advertisement, commercial, exposure, whatever you want to call it, for other franchises in order to move product. I mean, that's the whole glory of it. That's why everybody wants to get in Smash. However, never has it ever felt quite as egregious as when Byleth was announced, because it was clear that Nintendo had a motive. Because honestly, even though Sakurai wants certain characters, ultimately it is Nintendo's approval to have those characters in the game, and clearly they wanted Byleth to be in the game. It's meant to sell the product of Fire Emblem Three Houses, because that's the most recent Fire Emblem game. They didn't really care if fans were gonna like it or not. They needed to advertise that game as much as they could, just like how when they added Corrin, because, well, that game just recently came out as well during the time. And really, I ultimately feel bad for Byleth and Fire Emblem fans who really wanted to see Byleth. I don't know why you would, because there are so many more characters that are infinitely more interesting, but hey, you wanted them, so you have them. But at the same time, I still feel bad for them because, well, this is something they've always really wanted and something we all knew that was going to happen. But I feel like it was just the poorest opportunity to show off a character that we all knew was going to come anyways. And of course, we have to talk about how it's another Fire Emblem character. And to be honest, it just seems like an insult at this point, and it's not. It's really not. We're just thinking too much into it, but honestly, another Fire Emblem character is about as much of a slap to the face as anything could ever be. I mean, of course, we have many Mario characters and several Pokemon characters. I mean, they're a franchise that's heavily represented, but the difference is that they're not characters that are simply one tone. At least it doesn't seem like that on the surface. See, we have interesting characters like Marth, Roy, Ike, Lucina, Chrom, but they're all just interesting in their own Fire Emblem games, and when you get to learn their story, then that's when they actually shine. And the thing is that they're all the main characters of their own games, and so they all share the same role, which is of course Lord or Mercenary. This doesn't really diversify the cast because they're all pretty much the same exact character, just with a different moveset. Whereas with Pokemon, we have different monsters who all play vastly different from one another because, well, they're different Pokemon, they're different monsters, they have different styles, they're different types, they're designed completely differently. The only one I can actually comfortably say that plays very differently, vastly differently amongst the other characters is of course Corrin and Robin. Robin being a mage character and of course Corrin being just something completely different. Yes, of course they have swords, but they play in separate ways, one being a zoner and one being more mobile and diverse. It's not the issue that they're just another swordsman, it's the issue that they play pretty much as they would play in their game, and since they all literally share the exact same class and role in their games, well, don't expect too much diversity when it comes to gameplay. It's sad that I had to end this way, because we all know that if this character were announced under different circumstances, nobody would really care. Those circumstances most favorably being somewhere in the middle of Challenger Pass 2, which, I mean, nobody would have cared if, like, it was the second character that was announced, really. Nobody would really care. And I guess I should mention the visceral amount of hate that both Sakurai, the team, Smash community, just everyone is getting just for this fucking announcement. People are mad about everything, and it's really pathetic, but what do you want me to say about it, honestly? I can't say much. The people who are going to be mad are going to stay mad because they're pathetic and they have nothing else to live for. So, you know, I guess this is the most important thing to them, to just be mad about someone else's pleasure or someone else's announcement that clearly isn't made for them. I don't care, honestly, and you shouldn't. You shouldn't either. Who fucking gives a shit? But that's one thing to pull away from this, and I think those are my final words on this whole thing. There's a new Fire Emblem character, and that's probably the last one we're ever gonna see during the entire lifespan of Smash Ultimate. There's pretty much no doubt that Challenger Pass 2 is not gonna have a single Fire Emblem character whatsoever. And I don't want anyone to take away from this that Fire Emblem is trash or that any of the Fire Emblem characters suck because they're all the same or anything like that. It's just boring to see the same exact characters, and Fire Emblem is a fantastic game. I mean, you know, the one that Corrin is from, Fates, not really that great, but hey, the other ones that Sakurai mentioned, those are pretty top-notch, honestly. I implore you to play these games. Really, don't be dissuaded by this whole thing. It's one of my favorite franchises. Not really my favorite in terms of gameplay in Smash Bros. Ultimate, but hey, it's something that I really cherish and have cherished since I was a kid. Go out there and play some Fire Emblem games. In the meantime, hey, you still got Smash, you still got Terry, you still got Banjo-Kazooie, Joker, Dragon Quest. I mean, if you guys still tolerate the heroes, you know. But hey, maybe I'm being too much of a crybaby, or maybe I'm being too much of an optimist. I don't fucking know. You guys are confusing me sometimes, really. But anyways, tell me what you guys think. Are you excited? Are you not? I don't really care. To be honest, I just need engagement. I'm being brutally honest. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Goodbye.